Hello YouTube, this is DiDolRuChagi coming at you with a new video. This one's not a typical gaming video that I like to put out, but this one is actually about budget gaming and the PCs that you can really come up with for a very cheap budget. This actually shows right here. I actually put a gaming PC for $589.93 plus shipping, which it comes up to about $609 and I think 12 cents. And then we got a $45 mail-in rebate. So that puts us at about $564. And the PC I came up with was very good in my opinion. I think I'd be able to play many of the games that have came out recently in the years, even at the highest settings, or very close to the highest settings. So we're going to go ahead and just start by looking at what I came up with. We're going to start at the bottom, kind of work our way up. The processor that I came up with was the Phenom 2 X4 960T. It's the 3 GHz AM3. Now it's not AM3 Plus because that would be the only bulldozer CPUs. Or then there's the lower end quad, or the other quad cores that came out with the launch of the bulldozer CPUs. And then this processor is actually a downgraded hexacore CPU because it has the T. Maybe that stands for turbo, or maybe it stands for something else. I don't really know the acronym for the T, but I know it is a downgraded hexacore CPU. That means there must have been some kind of problem that would change the name or degrade it from a hex core to a quad core. And that's why the AMD is releasing it as a quad core CPU to begin with. But there's a good feature that I'll be talking about later in the video with the motherboard. This is a good price for this CPU. When it's comboed with the right motherboard, it could be a very good buy. Okay, let's go to the motherboard now, just talk about that because I already said something. So we went with the MSI 870S motherboard. It's an AM3, not an AM3 Plus, but this is budget gaming now. We could spend a lot more money, and we could build an ultimate gaming rig if you want to, but that is not the objective behind this video. Behind this video is just to come up with a budget gaming PC for the average gamer. So I went with this 870 MSI motherboard from AMD, or from MSI, I mean. And this is a budget gaming motherboard. It happens to have two PCI Express lanes. They do not have full PCI capabilities. They are only one X16 lane, and there's an X4 lane. But I watched a video on YouTube from Linus Tech Tips, and he did a video on these dual X16s and dual X8s and dual X4s, and maybe he did a little flipping, and he did a little X16, X8, X16, X4. I can't remember for sure, but he did a video on that, so you're gonna have to check it out on his channel. But this motherboard is not AM3 Plus, so it's not capable with the NVIDIA cards, but it allows crossfire, which works with the video card that we're gonna have. And the difference between X16 and X16 versus X16 and X4 is not going to be very substantial. It'd be noticeable to the enthusiast, but to the average gamer, if you have dual video cards and you place them in the system and you play them, the difference is not going to be huge. But what I really like this motherboard and its capabilities is the CPU core unlocking. Now we talked about the 960T processor that I had, and that it is the downgraded version of a hex core. Well, not all processors that are downgraded are bad. Like me, I have a Phenom 2 555 dual core, and I was able to unlock it with an Asus motherboard, and I was able to get a quad core out of it, and it's been very stable actually. And this is the best part of it, and that you can actually possibly, now it's not guaranteed, but you could possibly unlock these extra 2 cores that come with this 960T, and you could actually get a hexacore processor for $125, which is a very good deal for this type of budget and this type of machine. Now, granted, this hexacore is going to be awesome, it's going to be amazing, but it's not going to be noticeable in games. It's going to be more noticeable when it comes to the video encoding or the video editing or anything of that nature, where it's going to be very power demanding from the CPU, where it's going to need a lot of power and it's going to need a lot of processors or threads to actually do the necessary jobs. Alright, so I talked about the PCI Express lanes, and we went to talk about the video card. I went with the Sapphire 6870 1GB 256-bit interface video card. It's a mid-range video card. It's not high-end, but it's not low. It's right in the middle, and it performs very well for the price range that it's at. I would recommend it for any budget gaming, and yeah, I guess. Oh, and also, if you buy it from Newegg, you actually get a free game. You actually get a free Dirt 3 game coupon, which is actually valued at $50, which is very cool of Sapphire to include in with their video card. But a lot of video card companies are actually doing that to get the sale. So again, this is a great video card. You'll be able to play most of the games on high to ultra high settings, and I would say that this would be perfect for a budget gaming PC and make a customer very happy. And now we're going to go ahead and just skip on down to the memory. We went just with some cheap 4GB kit memory. It's the DDR3 1600. And this memory I don't have. I'm still stuck on the DDR2 phase just because I have an older AM3 motherboard. And it didn't have the AM3 capabilities. I have actually an 8GB kit of G-Skill Sniper memory sitting right next to me, but I don't have the money right now to be able to upgrade, so I'm just kind of letting it sit there. But this is just some cheap memory, and it works. I'm sure this works fine. It actually has very good ratings from everybody and across the board. See, 53 5 eggs, 10 4 eggs, and so on and so forth. Well, let's see this right here. And see, and this is just a budget gaming PC. He said that it didn't work good with AMD CPUs, but that's if you're overclocking. And I don't see the huge performance increase. I'm not an enthusiast, but I don't see the huge performance increase just from overclocking the RAM. And I think it's just a very stupid idea to overclock RAM. Underclocking is okay, because when you underclock it, and then you can increase the frequencies and the multipliers in the CPU, which helps increase the CPU, which you're going to notice increase the CPU total gigahertz, which you'll notice more of an increase in performance from the processor versus the RAM. But no computer would be perfect without be able to even run without a power supply. So I went with a known company, but it's not getting the reputation that it deserves. I think Raid Max is a very good brand. I have a Raid Max 730 watt power supply in my system, and it's worked perfectly fine for the last year that I've had it. The good thing about this power supply is it's 630 watts, which will cover the system and maybe even an additional video card. And the good thing about this power supply is that it's SLI ready, which in this case Doesn't matter unless you happen to upgrade to an AM3 motherboard in the future. But the best thing about this is that it's crossfire ready, which we're going to be able to support in this system because we have dual video card slots. And an added bonus which makes the world of difference in any PC is the fact that it's modular, which means that we can pick and choose the cables and we don't have to have the full power from the power supply running out of the power supply at all times. Let's see, like right here, it's up to 85% efficient, which is good. And look at this, it's got some pretty good ratings. Yeah, and see, but you know, you're taking the chance every time you build a PC when you buy these components. There's a possibility that this might scare you away when you see this, that it fried two different motherboards. Unbelievable. Well, you're taking the chance when you buy any power supply. Any power supply, it may have a faulty wire which may spark and cause shorts and fry everything in your entire computer. But you're taking that chance when you buy it. But a majority of the people that have bought this have given this power supply either a 4 or a 5 rating. There's 248 5 eggs and 73 4 eggs, which is a very good rating, a solid rating. I would recommend this power supply to anybody. Now here's where my budget PC might bite me in the ass and people would be saying a bunch of crap about. But I'm not gonna just completely avoid recertified items. Given the circumstances that we're in right now and the PC buying world and just even manufacturers and clients from these manufacturers like Newegg, the fact that there's a shortage in Taiwan or whatever it is, where there was the flooding that happened to really wipe out a lot of these hard drive companies, storages or supplies, that there's been a huge increase in the price on hard drives. So buying recertified might not be a bad idea. I'm personally running a recertified hard drive. That's a 320 gigabyte Western Digital black, I think, hard drive, and it's worked perfectly for the last year. I've had not a single hitch with it at all. It's ran perfectly. Now, like I was saying with the power supply, that granted, yes, you may get a bad hard drive and you may have to send it in and get a new item, a different hard drive. But you're taking that chance when you buy it. So I figured that a 300 gigabyte, 700 or 7200 RPM hard drive is a good deal for even $59.99. See, you could buy this a year ago. I bought this about the same hard drive, same capacity from Western Digital. I bought it for $25. So there's a serious problem, and if you happen to have an extra hard drive laying around, I would recommend just using that until these prices go back down. But if you need a new hard drive, I would look into recertified. Then you make the decision if you want recertified or brand new. Brand new, they're going to cost you a little bit more. See, we'll even look it up right now. We'll look up and we'll just see the new prices. Well, not that one, not the top one, because that's 15,000 RPMs, and we're not looking for that. Okay, we'll look up one that's relatively close. Internal hard drives. Alright, here we go. The one that I bought, right, let's see if it's on here. It doesn't look like the one I bought, but here's perspective-wise. Western Digital Caviar Blue, 320 gigabyte, 7200 RPM, is going to cost you over $100 right now in this market. So personally, I would look into recertified. It might be a good idea, and it might save you a bunch of money, and it may, work perfectly. But then again, like I was saying, it might die on you, which Newegg is very good about returning items and re RMAing, and I would just go for it. Take a shot in the dark. But no PC is complete without a very good chassis. This is the Cooler Master Half 912 case. It's a very good case. I've seen a very good review. You see even Newegg right here. Watch this review on it. I would recommend this case, and a lot of other people would too. 519 people gave this a 5 egg review. 81 people gave it a 4 egg review, and so on and so forth. These are just the trolls. These are the guys that are probably having a terrible time with this case and think it's just god awful, and they're looking for so much more in this case. But realistically, this case is amazing, and it's a great buy for any budget PC. See, even right here, 2011 Reader's Choice Award. It's given the best chassis award. But then we just go with the standard DVD drive. You can buy these cheap. If you have even an IDE one, just use it. You just use it mainly just for the installing of the operating system. But a lot of games now are using Steam, and the DMR, the digital rights management, or media, whichever it is. And there's so many companies that are just using that and basing all their games off of downloadable clients like Steam or Origin or any other one. Steam is a very common one. I just bought actually Skyrim for my PC when it came out, and I thought, I'm just gonna get the disc. I'm gonna install it. That'd be alright. But no, you get the disc, but you have to install it through Steam, which is kind of a pain in the butt in a way, but it's also guaranteed that only one person is going to get that copy because it has to be applied to your Steam account. So it's smart, but it's annoying. But it gives you safety in knowing that no one else is going to get that copy of the game. So in the end, the system does cost $609.12, but that's after almost a $20 shipping. But it does not include the $45 you get in rebates. So total in all, the system is going to be about $564 after rebate, which I would say the system pretty much kicks any game's ass out in the market right now, and I'd be willing to buy this PC and use it right now. But anyway, I would say, look into it. You can buy these components for cheap. You don't need to spend the thousands or even $4,000 on the ultimate gaming rig when this system right now would be perfect for any game. However, there's one thing I did not include in this video right now that I would recommend sometime in the future, especially if you plan on unlocking this processor if possible. I would recommend getting a new CPU cooler, and I'll just go ahead and show you right now on the Newegg website that I would recommend getting a new one sometime in the future. Plenty of good air coolers out there, and anything would be better than any stock fan that Intel or even AMD gives you. That's good if you're just planning on browsing the web, but if you're planning on playing games, I would recommend getting a CPU cooler sometime in the near future after putting this PC together, because you'll realize that you may actually crash your system after hours and hours of games after the CPU just gets so hot. But almost any air cooler will do fine versus a stock cooler. I have a 50 or 9500. I had that for a while. I gave that and put it into my brother's PC, and it works beautifully. It's keeping his temperatures really cool at any high temperature, keeping it low from any high temperatures. I have a Corsair H50 enclosed water cooling unit in my PC, and it's working beautifully. I never get above 50 degrees ever. I would recommend any Corsair Hydro product. Any of these high performance liquid coolers. The Noctua NH-D14 is a good one. Any Zalman is a good product. The Sigmatech Dark Knight, the Hyper 212, the Hyper N520 is a good one. But you're going to want to check these dimensions with these, because this might be too tall for this case that we happen to be in. So you're going to want to really check and see how big the cooler is going to be and see if it's going to fit in the chassis that you choose. Like here, so that's just a standard fan, but this is where it sticks out. And on this cooler, it has little notches on the top that kind of stick up that might actually press against the side panel in this case. But anyway, you know, I think this gaming PC is great, and I would look into it, and I think I did alright. I think I beat some of these people out there that put a PC together for, you know, $600, and they have an AMD 6770 and they spend all this money on the processor. Well, you know, that's not necessary, and realistically, 4 gigabytes of RAM will cover anything you're doing now, if you're planning on just gaming. Now, if you're planning on doing picture editing, or video rendering, or animation, you know, I would look into maybe getting 16, 24, even 32 gigs of RAM, just to be safe for future projects. But even during those scenarios, this processor will be fine, and this video card will be fine, motherboard will be fine. The hard drive, I may possibly want to get a larger one, or even external, just to save your projects on, because those files can get very large. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed what I think is a good, solid gaming PC. Alright, signing out. Have a good day. Bye.